animanam akhanditam tada purusha atmanam kevalam prakrute param nirantaram swayam jyotir animanam akhanditam. Word to word translation. Tada, then, Purushaha, the individual soul, Atmanam, himself, Kevalam, pure, Prakrute Param, transcendental to material existence, Nirantaram, non-different, Swayam Jyotihi, self-effulgent, Animanam, infinitesimal, Akhanditam, not fragmented. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. At that time, the soul can see himself to be transcendental to material existence and always self-effulgent, never fragmented, although very minute in size. But in the state of pure consciousness or Krishna consciousness, one can see himself as a minute particle, non-different from the Supreme Lord. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, the jiva or the individual soul is eternally part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. Just as the sun's rays are minute particles of the brilliant constitution of the sun, so a living entity is a minute particle of the Supreme Spirit. The individual soul and the Supreme Lord are not separated as in material differentiation. The individual soul is a particle from the very beginning. One should not think that because the individual soul is a particle, it is fragmented from the whole spirit. Mayavada philosophy enunciates that the whole spirit exists, but a part of it, which is called the jiva, is entrapped by illusion. This philosophy, however, is unacceptable because spirit cannot be divided like a fragment of matter. That part, the jiva, is eternally a part. As long as the Supreme Spirit exists, his part and parcel also exists. As long as the sun exists, the molecules of the sun's rays also exist. The jiva particle is estimated in the Vedic literature to be 1/10,000th the size of the upper portion of a hair. It is therefore infinitesimal. The Supreme Spirit is infinite, but the living entity or the individual soul is infinitesimal. Although it is non-different in quality from the Supreme Spirit, two words in this verse are to be particularly noted. One is Nirantaram, which means non-different or of the same quality. The individual soul is also expressed here as Animanam. Animanam means infinitesimal. The Supreme Spirit is all-pervading, but the very small spirit is the individual soul. Akhanditam means not exactly fragmented, but constitutionally always infinitesimal. No one can separate the molecular parts of the sunshine from the sun, but at the same time, the molecular part of the sunshine is not as expansive as the sun itself. Similarly, the living entity by his constitutional position is qualitatively the same as the Supreme Spirit, but he is infinitesimal. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namini. Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desadarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, today it is an interesting verse. We mainly, as our sampradaya is, our philosophy is achintya beda abeda tattva, oneness and different at the same time. So we will see briefly about this glories of the devotional service. Then we will go deep into the verse. So in these are the Kapila's teachings started from the 25th chapter, and these teachings will go till 33rd chapter. These are very, very important teachings. In Srimad Bhagavata, if we want to know Bhagavad philosophy very clearly, different categories of bhakti, what is Gnan, what is yoga, everything very crystal clear in one place, including creation, how it is explained, how the creation maintained, everything is clearly mentioned, very crystal clearly mentioned in these couple of teachings. If anyone doesn't know these teachings, means they cannot have the clarity about the creation also. And most important section of Srimad Bhagavatam, when it comes to understanding the clarity of Kesi, can be derived from these 8 chapters, 25th to 33rd chapter. And also here Lord Kapila Deva, to his in the name of to his mother Devahuti, he is explaining to everyone all the creations, all the material or spiritual universes. He is giving various varieties of yoga descriptions, varieties of bhakti yoga, pure devotional service, and within pure devotional service he talks about sadhana bhakti, vaidhi sadhana bhakti, raganuga bhakti, bhava bhakti, prema bhakti. So he was telling very detailedly about each and every aspect. And we see that in Nectar of Devotion, Rupa Goswami describes about the pure devotional service, its characteristics. So all these are all based on Lord Kapila's teachings only. And when we are establishing a Siddhanta, when we don't quote Kapila's teachings, that means we are not giving any proper conclusion. So if we want to give proper conclusion, clarity about our philosophy, Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva also, these verses are very, very important. And here in this chapter of pure devotional service, glories of pure devotional service, it is from the verse 13, he started speaking. Lord Kapil Deva started speaking. Why? Because her mother asked so many questions. She was saying that, oh, well, my dear Kapil, I don't have any clarity. Please relieve me from all these confusions. So then from 13th verse onwards, he started speaking, Kapila Deva. And later in 16, 17, 18 verses, it is clearly mentioned about Paramatma Tattva, Atma Tattva. Very, means in a nutshell, briefly only he explained in these 3 verses. Later he is explaining in detail. Okay. In the 16th, 15th verse, when we see, in the 13th verse itself, he started speaking, right? Sri Bhagavan Vacha. Yogadhyatmikam pumsam mato nishreyasayami atyanta. So he started with Yoga Adhyatmikam pumsam. So when Mother Devahuti said that, I am so confused, and then he started speaking. Why are you so confused? See here, anything that is related to the Lord and the individual soul, that's that yoga. If it is other than the subject matter of Lord and the Atma and Paramatma, it is the waste. Nowadays, so-called yoga centers are there. No, it is purely about only the body, not even about the soul or purification of the airs, nothing. Only body maintenance. So these are all trash. These are all not at all even termed as the yoga. So here he said clearly, Yoga Adhyatmikam Pumsam, the yoga system which relates to the Lord and the individual soul, which is meant for the ultimate benefit of the living entity, and which causes detachment from all happiness and distress in the material world, is the highest yoga system. Dukkasya cha sukhasya cha. Both happiness and distress. It will cause detachment from, because mostly all these in the material world, happiness and distress will cause because of this body only. So ultimately it is saying that the yoga, the knowledge that is describing about the Paramatma and Atma, and as the which is the highest benefit, and at the same time it yields to the side benefits, that is detachment from this bodily conception, that is the highest yoga. Very nicely described, right? So in the next verse, Yeah, same. Tamimam se Pavakshami. He is telling his mother. Then this is very important. Cheta kalva asya bandhaya muktaye chatmano matam. Guneshu saktam bandhaya ratam va pumsi muktaye. In the Vedas also it is mentioned. Manayeva manushyanam karanam karma bandha moksha bandhayoho. Manayeva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayoho. Means Manas, mana eva manushyanam. This mind is only the cause of bondage. And also it is the cause of liberation. It is said that when the mind is attached to the sense objects, it is the bondage. When it is attached to the Supreme Lord, that is the liberation. Simple. In the same way, here also it is mentioned. Cheta kalvasya bandhaya muktaye chatmano matam. So, muktaye chatmano matam. When you are focused on the Supreme Soul, that is moksha. Guneshu saktam bandhaya. When we are attached to these modes of material nature, that is bandhaya. That is the attachment. Or else ratam va pumsi muktaye. Pumsi means Supreme Personality of Godhead. When we are attached, rati means attachment. When we are having attachment with the Supreme Lord, that is muktaye. When we are attached, aktam, saktam, bandhaya, where when we are attached to these modes of material nature. So it is confirmed in this verse very nicely. That's why we should be so in the next verses it is mentioned. Aham mamabhimanottai kamalobhadivar malai. So here onwards it is mentioned. So in the previous verse, what is the cause of attachment and liberation? What is a bondage and liberation? And here it is mentioned what are the benefits by practicing this yoga. Aham mamabhimanotaihi. The root cause of these all bondages is two factors. Aham, mama. Ahanta, mamata. In yesterday's class also we discussed. So these are all the root causes for the mind when it is attached to the sense objects. How it is causes the bondages is very nicely explained. Why? Because when we are in second chapter of Bhagavad Gita also it is mentioned. Whole Bhagavad Gita is talking about, started discussion about this only. Very nicely explained. So aham mama, when dhyayato vishyan pumsam sangasteshu pajayate sangat sangayate kama kama krodho bijayate. Krodhat bhavati sammoha, those are the byproducts. So dhyayato vishyan pumsam. So when we are dealing, when we are contemplating with the objects, automatically we will develop the attachment. Objects means here people also. When we are dealing with the people, when we are dealing with the objects, when we are dealing with the three modes of material nature, what will happen is these two will develop. Aham, mama. So this particularly aham is very, very dangerous, which will lead to the mama. Cause is aham, effect is mama. So by this, we will be so much in the illusion. I am great. I. Aham means I. Mamata means we will develop attachment to the result. That is mamata. So it looks so nice. We'll say that if someone says that I like you so much, you are my role model, you are my leader. So we'll have a lot of pleasure. This is all trash, mama. My son, I am great. I have done this. These are all the mamata. Because it is supporting, it is nourishing the basic root aham. So it is making us cause the factor ahankar. It is making us forgetfulness of our constitutional position, that I am the Gopi Bhakta Padakamalayo Dasa Dasa Dasana Dasa. So that is the greatest illusion. Aham mama. So even Bhagavad Gita, the first verse, if anyone can recollect, what is the first verse? Dhritarashtra Vacha dharma kshetre kurukshetre samavetaayutsavaha mamaka pandavaschaiva kimakurvata Sanjaya. So, my dear Sanjaya, what is happening in the Dharma Kshetra, Kurukshetra? My sons, what they are doing, my sons, is the influence of that holy land, Kurukshetra, because of the presence of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, it became Dharma Kshetra. Is it affecting my sons, Mamaka? So, Mama, it is started, whole Bhagavad Gita conception is remove the illusion of the people. Mamaka means indirectly Krishna started this Bhagavad Gita with the Dhritarashtra's greatest illusion, my sons. Why? Because he knows that definitely this is a religious war, definitely my sons will die. But why he doesn't want Kauravas to be compromised? He wants the war to be happen. Why? Because in the war, if they happen, if by any chance Kauravas win the battle, he again become the king. That is aham. The root cause is to support the aham, and he using the my sons Mamaka. So this illusion, it started with the illusion. It is for all of us because we are also always deeply rooted with these aham and mama. So Krishna wants us. We are also having the similar mentality like Dhritarashtra. Krishna wants us to remove our illusion. Even Arjuna also. In second verse, in the second chapter, Krishna said that you are talking like a great learned person, but you are a real fool. You are a real fool. You are, though you are thinking that you are a learned person. So, like that, Krishna is giving us the real knowledge about the descriptions of the soul, about the relation of the soul with the super soul. Okay, we will go to the next verses. So, aham, because of this aham and mama, abhimana, attachment with those kama lobhadivir malaihi. We are getting a lot of impurities like kama and lobha. Always, I want this, I want a name, I want fame, I want position, I want appreciations, I want glorifications. So, like that, it will leads to the greed. But still, we will be hankering more and more and more. Krishna will give so much whatever we are desiring. But we are not stopping with kama, but we are going even lobha. We are becoming more and more greedy. So like that, it is causing the bondage, bandhana. It is. So what we have to do by this practice of Krishna consciousness, Vitam yada manas suddham adhukkam asukam samam. So by practice of this yoga system, we will be freed from this aham, we will be freed from the mama, we will be freed from kama and lobha, and also what will become manashuddham. It will purify our mind in such a way we will see that adukam ashukam samam. So we will be equipoised. Even we get $1 million, we will be in the same status of Krishna consciousness. Even if we lose something also, we will not. In Sri Bhagavad Gita also, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma Nasochati na Kankshati Samas Sarveshu Bhuteshu. So we will be equipoised. We will not have hankering, we will not have lamentation. In the same way, here also Kapila Deva is saying in this verse, we will not have Nasochati na Kankshati. We will be equipoised with happiness and distress. And now today's verse is Tada Purusha Atmanam Kevalam Prakrite Param. So, like that, in the same way, when we are practicing this Krishna consciousness, what are all the further results? What are all the further benefits? Means Tada Purusha Atmanam Kevalam Prakrite Param. So, we can be transcendental like that. The first symptom, when we are practicing the yoga system is, see, this is not the blind theoretical concepts. We can see this is abhyas. This is not just reading. This is not just studying. This is rather abhyas. Krishna, we cannot achieve perfection in Krishna consciousness. We cannot relish Krishna consciousness if we don't have the abhyas, if we don't have the practice. Jnanam vijnanam astikyam, brahma karma svabhavacham. So jnana should be there, knowledge should be there, and also vijnana, realization should be there, abhyasa, practice should be there. So when we are doing like this, when we are practicing, what are the byproducts? In the first, we will have the symptoms. We will be equipoised. We will treat. Always we will be sober. We will be equipoised. We will be balanced. We will not. Even someone appreciates. Even someone removes us from our state, from certain position. Even someone doesn't give opportunity. Even someone gives opportunity. Nothing. Only we will be equipoised with any kind of situation. And next one is prakrute param. We can be transcendental to this material existence. See, remember, we are a thin line is there, whether when we are practicing Krishna consciousness, to realize we are, when we really are we in Krishna consciousness, or we still in the material platform? This thin line, how we can understand is through these symptoms from 16th verse and 17th verse. In the 16th verse, what is the first symptom? We will be equipoised. We will not get affected. See, oh my God, someone is not recognizing me. Someone is, how much I am doing, this much I am doing. They will not hesitate with all this. They will be equipoised to whatever duality. This material world is full of duality. Means I am this person. Suppose he is a favorable person, he is not a favorable person. These are all the dualities. When we are seeing the dualities, means we are in this material world. When we are transcendental, suppose to understand to a layman, if a transcendentalist see a rasgulla, he sees that rasgulla not as a delicious, favorable one, and he doesn't see a Karela, a bitter gourd, as a non-favorable one. He see both as made of earth, water, fire, air, ether. He doesn't have that one is favorable, one is not favorable. So it is difficult to understand because we are deeply engrossed with this material nature. Yes, for a transcendentalist, he can see like that. So to say frankly, if any realized soul is there about these two concepts of aha and mama, when he is realized, when he is relieved from these two concepts, aha and mama, he will go to the forest naked. He doesn't have any attachment. He doesn't have any bondages. But it is too far for us, too extreme for us. But at least conceptual wise, even though we don't go to the forest like that, even though we cannot become avadhuta like Nityananda Prabhu, but we can have the realization and we can raise above these sukha and dukkha platforms. And we can be transcendental like in this verse. Yeah. So here tada purushatmanam kevalam prakrite param, they will be transcendental from this material existence. And nirantaram swayam jyotir. Okay, so we will see in at that time soul can see himself to be transcendental. So he can, but the realization of soul, understanding soul is not that easy. We cannot try to understand Supreme Lord. We cannot try to, we cannot even completely understand about ourselves also. In Bhagavad Gita, it is mentioned in 2nd chapter. Ascharyavat pasyati kachitenam, ascharyavat vadati tadaiva janyaha, ascharyavat chaiva nanya kunoti, shrutva pienam vedana chaiva kaschit. The last line is very nice. Shrutva pienam vedana chaiva kaschit. Only we can hear. Even after hearing also, we cannot understand, because Soul is amazing. Its activities are amazing. Its nature nature is amazing. And so we can only understand to some extent by these descriptions. Here it is said that Tada Purushatmanam Kevalam Prakriti Param, by being transcendental, what he can understand about this soul is, it is 4 characteristics they mentioned here, not about complete, because it is not possible to understand about the soul, because we will, if anyone thinks that I can understand the Supreme Lord, I can understand the soul, he is a murkha. He is in Upanishads also it is mentioned very nicely in Kena Upanishad 2.3 verse. It is mentioned that similar meaning, Yashyamatam matam matam amatam. Yashyamatam amatam matam amatam. So, Yashyamatam matam. If you think that I can understand soul, means he did not understand the soul. If anyone says that I cannot understand the soul, he understood something at least, that he cannot understand the soul. That is, in Kena Upanishad, it is said clearly. If we think that, if anyone says that I understand the soul, means he doesn't understand anything about the soul. So that is the position of the soul. That is the greatness of the soul. So what are the 4 characters that has mentioned? Nirantaram. Nirantaram means non-different. Non-different means it is beyond all obstacles of the world, and it is nirantaram, constant, it is ever existing. So why? Because it is mentioned as nirantaram means non-different, means non-different from the characteristics of the Paramatma. Even Paramatma is nirantaram because it is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. Even it has the qualities of the Supreme Paramatma. That's why it is constant, nirantaram. Duranta Viryasya Ratanga Panir means even Supreme Lord is described as Duranta Viryasya Ratanga Panir. Duranta means never stops. Nirantaram, always it is existing. That's why the soul is described as Nirantaram. Next one, even by practicing the yogi, they can reach this quality, they can attain this quality of Nirantaram. So all the liberated souls, they can have almost all qualities of Krishna, Paramatma. Just like a ocean of bliss is there. If we are going to swim in that ocean of bliss, we will also have happiness. Suppose Kirtan is going on, ecstatic Kirtan is going on. How much sad we are. If we enter that ecstatic Kirtan, we will also feel that joy. That means we will also have that quality. Next one is Swayam Jyoti. Swayam Jyoti means it emanates like light, called consciousness. So it itself has this self-effulgent. It is also similar quality of Paramatma. Swayam Jyoti. It has to be revealed itself. We cannot understand this also. Many scientists are trying to research this soul. Where is it located? How it is looking like? But it is not possible. Only to the realized souls, this Swayam Jyoti will be revealed. But not by our entire person. Next quality is Animanam. So he is very infinitesimal. Like Krishna also, he is subtle than the subtle. Anoraniyam Mahato Mahiyam. So he is smaller than the smallest and bigger than the biggest, larger than the largest. So in the same way, Animanam, even the soul is very, very minute. So Akhanditam. Akhanditam means it cannot be divided. It cannot be split. So many people, this is the difference between Mayavad, the philosophy, and ours. They say that it is subjected to the illusion and it is entrapped, means it is cut in the portions. So it is fragmented, it is reduced in quantity. The whole is reduced in quantity. But Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam. It cannot be fragmented. It cannot be reduced. Just like a ocean of water is there. If you take a pile of water, it cannot be reduced in quantity. In the same way, It cannot. So like that, these four qualities are similar to Paramatma also, but can be achieved by the liberated souls by practice of this Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. We'd like to wish everybody a safe and Krishna conscious day ahead. And we'd like to offer our prayers to the Supreme Lord by chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Hare.
Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram, Ram
Rama
Ram,
Rama,
Hare
Hare Hare.
Hare,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna
Krishna
Hare Hare.
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Rama, Hare
Hare,
Rama,
Hare
Rama
Ram,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Hare.
Ram Ram, Hare
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Hare.
Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Ram,
Rama
Hare
Rama,
Ram,
Hare
Ram
Hare.
Ram, Hare
Jai Singh, Jai
Jai
Singh,
Narasimha, Jai Narasimha, Jai Narasimha,
Jaya
Parnavesha, Jai
Padma
Mukha Padma
Padma
Bhagavima,
Ugravira Mahavishnu
Ugraveeram Mahavishnu
Sarvatomukam
Jalantam Sarvatomukam Narsikam
Nrsimham
Vishnam Bhadram
Vishnu
Nityam Namamyam.
Bhagwan ki Jai, Prahlad Maharaj
Jai,
Jai. Let's
Jai.
offer our humble obeisances to all the Asamar Vaishnavas. Vancha
Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa
Sindhu
sindhubhya
Idanam
Titanam
Pavanebhyo
pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo
Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada
Jai.
ki Jai.
Jai.
Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari.
Hari Hari Bol. Thank you so much, Kavandi Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Wonderful.
Hare.
Hare Krishna.